Today, our group presentation will consist of 6 members. I will be the MC for today, Jianho will be the timekeeper, and Agash will be the cameraman. So, inviting our first presenter, Afif, for his presentation.
Alright, thank you to MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon I bid to all. So my name is Muhammad Rafiq bin Samson Barun. First of all, may I ask you one question? Have you ever drive your car to the nearest petrol station and you saw a pump rather than petrol and diesel? It is written NGV on the pump. So, as we know, NGV is defined as natural gas vehicle. So the vehicle is surely powered by natural gas. So based on my research on CNG, today I would like to present on the topic compressed natural gas, the best alternative to petrol. So if you have any question regarding my presentation, you may ask after Q&A session. So natural gas is a fossil fuel comprised mostly of 87% of methane and is one of the cleanest alternative fuel. It can be used in two forms, which is first liquefied natural gas and second compressed natural gas. So what is compressed natural gas? Compressed natural gas is natural gas under pressure of 3600 psi, which is equivalent to 248 bar. CNG is clear and non-corrosive. CNG also is odorless, so natural gas companies add smell so that it can be detected. Okay, so as price of petrol increases, the need for less expensive and cleaner alternative fuel become even more important. And among available options, CNG appears to be the most viable option. The advantages of CNG are reducing maintenance costs, second, environmentally friendly, third, abundant supply, and fourth, affordable price. Let's start with reduced maintenance costs. Combusting CNG leave no residue or less residue compared to petrol, so it resulting in the damage on pipe and tubes of vehicle's engine become reduced. CNG also contain less particulate matter that can contaminate the motor oil. So the period in between the maintenance procedures such as tune up and oil change can be extended. So owner of CNG powered car can enjoy bigger saving on maintenance costs. Next, we move to environmental friendly. CNG is clean burning fuel. In fact, it is the cleanest of all fossil fuel. In fact, CNG comprised of mostly of methane. It produces carbon dioxide and water vapor, but in small amount only. So it can reduce the harmful effect of greenhouse gases to the environment, particularly through global warming. Third, abundant supply. Advancement in natural gas extraction method resulting in abundant supply of natural gas in the world. Technology increase the production efficiency through both hydraulic fracturing and directional drilling. Fourth is affordable price. Based on my research on articles, CNG is believed to be 30% cheaper than petrol. So people who use CNG can actually save more on CNG than petrol. As a conclusion, let me wrap up my points. CNG can be the best alternative to petrol because first, it can reduce maintenance costs. Second, it is environmentally friendly because it emits less harmful gases to the environment. Third, it is widely available throughout the world. And fourth, it is cheaper than RON95 and RON97, making it more affordable. So as years go on, petrol will be continued to be consumed until it will be depleted. So we need to believe that CNG can be the best alternative to petrol. That's all from me. I will open up the floor for Q&A session.
Do you think there are any obstacles in using CNG?
CNG by far is, as I said earlier, it is it has abundant supply in world, because in Malaysia we have natural gas reserve in Kerteh.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's all from me. Thank you.
5 minutes and 45 seconds.
So, thank you Mr. Afif for his presentation just now. Let's move on to our next presenter, Agash.
A very good afternoon everyone. My name is Agash and today I will be presenting to you about an invention called the plant lamp. I'm going to mostly talk about how the plant lamp actually works. Alright, we all know that even now there are still a lot of villages that are placed in rural areas. These areas don't even have proper lighting. The reason for this is this village, they are placed near all these jungles where you can find mostly dense flora and faunas, and they are prone to intense moisture and flooding. Because of this, we would not be able to build infrastructures to generate electricities. Even if there are already infrastructures to generate electricities, they will spoil because the moisture can cause the equipment to corrode, thus spoiling them. Okay, because of this, the villagers have to use kerosene-based lamp. And the problem with kerosene-based lamp is it is harmful to us and it also can cause negative emission into the atmosphere. So in this case, nature becomes the problem to us all. When we have a problem, normally what we do is we try to remove the problem. But in this case, how are we supposed to remove nature? If we remove nature, the animals don't have anywhere to stay. It can even cause soil erosion and even flooding. Okay, so we as engineers should find a way to solve a problem more efficiently, and that is what the people of University, Technology and Engineering in Peru have done. They have created the plant lamp. Okay, so you see here the problem now is nature and the solution is the plant lamp. The plant lamp uses the plant to power the lamp, as you can see over here. Now I'm going to talk about how is the plant lamp designed. Okay, first of all, the plant lamp consists of the pot, the lamp, the metal grid that's inside, and the battery. The pot is made out of wood. The reason for this is so that it's light for the villagers to carry it anywhere they go. Another plus point of it being made out of wood is this wood can be taken from the local place, so it makes the price cheaper. Next, the plant lamp has a metal grid inside of it. This metal grid is made out of high conducting metals that have low reactivity. So it can conduct a lot of electrons and they do not corrode inside the soil. Next, the LED. The LED is actually a low power consumption but high illumination LED. Thus this means even with low power, we can power up the LED. Moving on to the battery. The battery used has to be a rechargeable battery so that we can charge the plant lamp and discharge the energy into the lamp. Next, you see there's a plant and soil over here. This both can be taken out from the local soil and the plant also can be taken from a local source. Okay, now I'll talk about how does it work actually. Now you see, plants, when they get enough sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, they undergo the process of photosynthesis. When this happens, the plant will make their own nutrients to use for the plant. but then there are still extra nutrients. These nutrients will actually go to the roots of the plant and it disperse into the soil. Now, one of the nutrients inside that are being made is iron oxide. Okay, so iron oxide will actually interact with a microorganism called geobacters that's inside the soil. These geobacters oxidize the iron oxide and it gives out a free electron. This is somewhat same as how we humans get energy. We breathe in oxygen and oxidize the oxygen and thus producing energy for ourselves. The geobacters oxidize the iron oxide and creating free moving ions. Next, now we have all these free moving ions inside the soil. The way we transfer the ions to the battery is through the grid, metal grid. This metal grid, since it's made out of something very high conductive, it takes all the electrons from the soil, it transfers it into the battery to be stored. Now this battery, it will only be used when the lamp circuit is on. That's why we have also a switch. When the switch is on, the circuit is complete, thus the current from the battery goes to LED and the LED is on. Okay, so this plant lamp can last about 2 hours per day. Now moving on to the conclusion. Okay, so the plant lamp actually is a really good invention as it reduced the reliance of the villagers towards the harmful kerosene-based light. This kerosene lamp is actually really harmful as the fumes released by it is as equivalent to smoking 2 cigarettes. Another thing, the light produced by this kerosene lamp is not actually that effective. You see, this yellow light produced is very dim, and when we study using that light, it's actually spoiling our eyes. Now another thing, the plant lamp actually has zero emission because we're using the plant to generate the electricity, thus no harmful substance is being transferred into the atmosphere. And this plant lamp also absorbs the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Last but not least is the plant lamp provides a stable light source to all the villagers that don't even have proper lighting. Right, that is all that I have for today. Thank you. And any questions from the audience?
Yes. So, how would you roughly estimate the cost of building this one lamp?
Okay, so actually the most expensive part would probably be the metal grade because that one has to be high productive and low reactivity. So most to most, maybe around $50. This is dollars, not in ringgit, because I searched this online. This is actually from the overseas. So yeah. Okay, thank you.
6 minutes 58 seconds.
Okay. So, thank you Mr. Agash for our presentation just now. Next, our presenter will be Mr. Solehin.
Okay, good evening to my friends. Okay, I will be presenting Glowing Roads, a Brighter Future. In this modern age, we already know that all the nations, they have increased their network of transportation from a rural area to urban area to the city area. Okay, for Glowing Roads is very highly regarded because it's one of the way to reduce electrical energy. As you can see, the roadside, the near roadside, they use lamp posts which use electrical energy. So, glowing roads is one of the way to reduce the energy consumption, and it's by far an abundant of research has been provided for the glowing roads. Okay, if you want to use glowing roads in our nation, we need to know what is the mechanism of it. So, the mechanism, the glowing lines or the edges of the road along the road use luminescent paint. Okay, FYI, for your information, luminescent paint consists of zinc sulfide and also strontium aluminate. And also, the light produced from the paint helps to illuminate the road without the usage of lamp posts, which is very convenient for the drivers if they want to drive on a large highway or a long highway that is very dark in rural area. So if you want to have this technology, we need to know what are the benefits for us. So the first benefit, it is very sustainable. The luminescent pen is charged using sunlight, so it's basically use solar energy to function and does not require electrical energy. That's the first benefit. And the second one is it is very economical. It does not use any electricity and can reduce the cost of operation. And the last benefit is usability. It is easy to handle with no complex requirement. Even though it is a chemical substance, we do not need any specific requirements to handle it. Okay, now we continue to the real-life usage in our world. Okay, there are basically two nations that have applied glowing rods in their nation. The first one is Netherlands in 2014, and the second one is very recently in Singapore. So in Netherlands, they use glowing lines which consists of the luminance pen, and they put it in the middle and the side of the road so that the drivers can see the roadside, and also they can see the other drivers coming from the opposite way. In Singapore, they applied it in a pathway for joggers. So basically, if anyone wants to jog at night, they can see clearly the pathway. And so, it's come to the conclusion of my presentation. Basically, glowing roads is the pathway of technology for technology of the future. And also, there can be further innovation so that the concept can be more applicable in more rural nations, such as in South Africa or also in Sudan. That's all for my presentation. So I'm giving away for the question Q&A.
I have questions. Can I know the efficiency of the glowing rods, since we are engineering?
Okay.
So we'll talk about the efficiency.
Okay. Based on my research, the efficiency of the glowing rods right now is basically 65% because it relies on solar energy. In some nations where the sun does not shine always, so it's basically at 65% of efficiency due to the availability of the sun.
What if the glowing rod is implemented in Malaysia?
Okay, so if you want to implement glowing rod in Malaysia, we need to see what is the condition in Malaysia. Basically, Malaysia is around 85% sunny days every day, and the efficiency is going to be very high due to our climate, such as there's going to be sunny day every day, and also we can see the statistic of drivers right now which have increase in accident that in rural area where there's no light or lamp post in the area.
To put it easy, this road you charge in a day,
Okay.
and then it takes one whole, you light up for one whole night. Is this
Okay. So if it is charged fully, it will light up around 10 hours, basically the whole night. Okay, that's all for my presentation today. Thank you.
5 minutes 53 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Solihin, for his presentation previously. Now, let's move on to our next presenter, Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Brian. The world is changing rapidly. From the Stone Age to the ultra-modern era today we are living in, things we never imagined earlier have become the vital necessities in our life. For example, the light in those ages was from sun for a limited part of the day. But now we have electricity for all-day use, thanks to Thomas Edison, who invented electricity that illuminated the whole world. Imagine, life without electricity, would it be meaningful enough? Actually, electricity has provided all the comforts of life, and life would be completely different without the presence of it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam, and today I am going to introduce you the next generation of electricity generator. To generate electricity, fuel, which is a finite resource in nature, has become the most important source to drive electricity generator. However, fuel consumption in any processes will certainly produce exhaust gases such as carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, in which these gases will cause the pollution to the environment. And that brings me in to introduce you the resilience generator. Ladies and gentlemen, what is resilience generator all about? Resilience generator is an electricity generator where it consumes a minimum amount of fuel that produces high efficiency of electricity. And it has a capability to save the operation cost up to 70%. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, I and my teammates have won a silver medal award in select competition for this project, and it proven that it has the potential to replace the traditional electricity generator where it consumes a lot of fuel in generating electricity, and it helps the people in those countries who always have a electricity shortage. Before I go into the details of the resilience generator, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce some of the users that will be using the resilience generator in the future. In India, the demand of the electricity has always been more than the supply of the electricity because of the current infrastructure in India is not able to produce sufficient electricity to the high population community. It is expected that 400 million people in India still do not have any access to the electricity. We found ourselves completely paralyzed whenever there is an electricity breakdown in our area. Imagine how these people are going to survive without electricity for such a long period. With this, I would like to introduce the resilience generator to every one of you. As you can see over here, the resilience generator, we have two batteries. These batteries act as a fuel source to drive the motor 1. The motor 1 is connected to motor 2, which is then generate electricity. The electricity generated will then transfer into the transformer, where the transformer will induce a higher voltage. The voltage will then be transferred into the diode bridge, which is converted into a DC voltage. The DC voltage will be stored in the capacitor, where a charge will be directed to the motor 1. The process keeps on recycling up to a certain efficiency. From the concept of resilience generator I showed just now, it found that the fuel consumption in generating electricity has actually been reduced. Looking at the statistic over here, it was found that there is an increase in trends of the electricity consumption where environmental friendly electricity generator is needed to overcome the environment problem. Therefore, resilience generator is the best choice to overcome this air pollution problem. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are planning to have a mobile electricity generator in your home for your own purpose, perhaps you can give a try on the resilience generator. That might change the meaning of your life. Thank you. Now I will open the floor for any Q&A session.
Yes. How long would you have to charge the battery, and how long would the generator run by itself?
Actually, I can just take it as a small scale. Like I charge 1 minute of this resilience generator. Actually, they can store the capacity charge for like around 3 minutes. So the ratio is like 1:3 ratio. Yeah. Any more questions? If there's no questions, then I will end my presentation here. Thank you.
5 minutes and 30 seconds.
So thank you Mr. Sam for his presentation previously. So now let's move to Mr. Kwa Jian Ho.
Alright, thank you Mr. Brian. My name is Kwa Jian Ho, and today I will be presenting about ELI, an alternative to smartphone sensation applications. So basically what I will explain today is about why ELI is better than our usual smartphone sensation applications. Okay, let's imagine a scenario. We as engineers, we travel overseas often. Let's say we were to travel to Japan. In Japan, language is always a problem. Why? Because not many people know how to speak Japanese. And also for Japanese, they do not know how to speak English well. So how do we solve this? Actually, a Japanese company named Logbar created ELI, a device that can instantly translate any sentences you speak into it instantly in a mere 0.2 seconds. Let's have a video demonstration.
seen in the video just now, the Ely actually took just mere 0.2 seconds to translate what they said to speak to the foreigner. I'm sorry, to the local. So it actually it's almost instant. So what is Ely? Let me summarize. It's an instant translation device for travelers to break language barrier in foreign countries, for example Japan, China, and so on. Ely is also the world's first wearable translator, as it can be carried out with ease. It's actually like something like a lanyard for you to wear it around your neck. Okay. As of now, the Ely supports 3 languages: Mandarin, Japanese, and Spanish. It only goes one way, which is English to any of the 3 languages which I speak of just now. And one device only can translate per one language. For example, English to Spanish. It can't be, there's no other choices. But in the future, according to the company Logbar, future updates will allow you to add more languages. So why users weren't happy with an app? Let's say Google Translate, the usual app we use to translate. Okay, most of the people voted trouble connecting to Wi-Fi. Not everywhere in our modern society we can find Wi-Fi. You can find Wi-Fi, but not a good connection. Okay, so which is why Ely is a Wi-Fi free translation device. There's no need of wasting time finding a Wi-Fi connection to perform a translation, because it can give you the translation anytime, anywhere. And also it's simple to use compared to smartphone apps. Why? Because all you need is to click a button, you speak to the device, and the device will instantly translate it for you. Also, it specializes in one-way translation, because there's no need to worry about having the other person you say incorrectly, or the need to explain on how to use Ely. So, designed for traveling. How is it designed for traveling? Okay. The company of Ely, Logbar, actually took the most common travel sentences we use and added them specifically for us to use in Ely. Let's say, what to eat, what do you recommend? You can translate any questions, which is, you can ask any questions which allows the respondent to answer shortly, easy to understand. However, Ely is not meant to be used for business or medical terms as well as slangs, as shown here: medical, business, and names. Ely will indeed be, as a conclusion, Ely will indeed be a great help to us travelers. Although it is not in the general market right now, they have started pre-orders and it retails at $249. So, in the future, when more languages are added into Ely, it indeed will be a useful app for us to travel around the world. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you. Okay, now I open the floor for any questions.
So would you actually buy this device in the future if you were to go for traveling?
Well, for your question, even though Ely might be a bit pricey at $249, I actually think it's worth the investment, because it can instantly translate to you anything that you speak to it. So let's say you work in Japan, you want to translate what you in English to Japanese to the locals. Would you rather use Ely, which can instantly translate it for you, or the local usual app where you need to have a Wi-Fi connection to actually translate what you say to the locals? So yes, actually it's worth the investment, and it's actually, as more languages are coming into Ely, it actually will be very, very worth the investment. So any other questions?
Yeah, what if there's languages like not many people know, maybe like Sanskrit?
Let's say Sanskrit. Okay, as I said, it's not, let's say Sanskrit, because it's an ancient language. Not many people will speak Sanskrit nowadays. So actually, I don't think they will insert Sanskrit in, but if they do, that will be a very good improvement into Ely. Right. Is there any other questions? No? Okay, thank you and this is all from my presentation. Thank you, I pass it back to the MC.
The presentation for Kwa Jian Ho is 5 minutes and 58 seconds.
So thank you Mr. Jian Ho for his presentation just now. Next, last but not least, would be me. I'll be presenting my presentation now. So, good evening to all our audience, Mr. Muttalib and everyone else here. So, my title for today will be Self-Repairing Polymer. Let me ask the audience a question. have you drove your car and by some chance you accidentally scraped off the paint of your car, and you'll be looking at the paint and the scars, you'll be like, it's going to cost a lot, and it actually leaves a very bad shape to the car. It does not look good anymore. So what I would like to do is like to introduce this new polymer, which is the self-repairing polymer. As the name implies, this polymer can actually self-recover. Now, although the technology sounds very advanced, but it's not this era's technology actually. The Romans long before actually used this technology once. So, what the Romans did was actually, they took volcanic ash mixed with limestone and some water. Now, the chemical reaction between the volcanic ash and the limestone actually created these crystal-like structures in it. These crystal-like structures will actually fill up all the cracks until it's full, and it will just stop there. Now, they actually use this for their Colosseum and also all their other stadiums. That it actually helped them repair the cracks on the stadium walls, and up till now, it actually looks quite good. So, in this era now, we actually derive our self-repairing polymer from a component called chitin. This is actually mainly found in crustaceans, in the shells of these crabs and prawns and all these things. This is because they go through this phase where they change their shells once a few times. So when they change the shell actually rebuilds itself. Thus, we took their main idea of rebuilding its own shell and made it into our self-repairing polymer. So, okay, Nissan was the very first automotive company which actually introduced self-repairing polymer into their car paint. They actually made it with the help of some sunlight and UV rays. The car paint scratches actually healed by themselves. So next, we'll move on to the applications of the self-repairing polymer in your daily life products. As I mentioned before, would be paint. You could use it in the automotive industry, like in cars previously, and you won't actually feel bad about your scratches anymore because your scratches actually heals itself. You look practically like brand new. Next will be you'll be able to boost the appearance of your car. Imagine your car, after some time, your car paint actually looks dull due to all the corrosion, due to acid rain and stuff, or maybe scratches previously. So it actually helps boost the appearance by maintaining the actual look of the car when you first got it. Next would be electric components. As we all heard before, the term wear and tear. It applies to everything, including electric components too. Imagine electric components actually carry all the voltage, currents and heat to supply you electricity. They actually have wear and tear in them too. So by incorporating this self-repairing technology polymer into these electric components, you could actually repair it. For example, we have here is ribbon ties, ribbon wires. Imagine the ribbon wire got damaged, and with this self-repairing technology, it could actually heal to a certain extent, minimizing the damage it could do to the whole system, maybe a short circuit or so. This actually gives more time to the maintenance people to find out the actual cost and to repair it. Last but not least would be ceramics. Ceramics, as we all know, it's very nice. You could take it as a decorative item or also a collection item. However, with just a small crack in the ceramic, it could actually affect the integrity of the item. It could make the item value drop, or it could actually reduce the strength of the item. Thus, by adding this self-repairing polymer in it, it could actually help the ceramic to repair itself. It could help regain its full strength, and it will actually fill up the space, making the ceramic look new and as if it's not cracked or being touched at all. So, to conclude all my presentation today, self-repairing polymer actually has many other uses, not just these three. You could be used in constructions, you could use in pharmaceutical. So actually, the applications of this self-repairing polymer is vast, it's close to infinite. you could use it for everything actually. So that concludes my presentation today. Thank you. I'll open the floor to Q&A now. Yes.
May I ask, the self-repairing polymer safe for us to handle? Because you explained that it will heal itself by having crystalline structure.
Yes.
So is it safe for us to handle without injuring ourselves?
Yes, actually, because it's mainly built using a organic compound chitin, so it's not very harmful. And this crystalline structure actually bonds to the wall of your crack. So when it bonds to it, it hardens and it makes it look like it's actually one, so it does not stain or anything. So yeah, if there's no other questions, thank you. This is my presentation.
The presentation time is 6 minutes and 7 seconds.
So that concludes for all our presenters and presentations today. Thank you everyone for their time.